After the success of Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics, expectations are high for an equally spectacular Winter Paralympic Games, which kick off on Friday. What has helped parasports grab their share of eyeballs after a period of public inattention? How do Paralympians continue to inspire long after the Games end? And how do sports people regard China's work to expand winter parasports? I had an exclusive interview with Jane Stevens, chef de mission of Team New Zealand for the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Games. Let's listen to her expectations about the Games. Ms. Stevens, thank you very much for joining us. How do you feel as a Paralympic delegation chef de mission?
Well, firstly, ni hao, everybody, and it's a great pleasure to be speaking to you today. We're obviously extremely excited for everybody, and for everybody in China, and of course our New Zealand delegation who have already arrived. And the momentum and the excitement is building. It is. This is our pinnacle event that we strive for every 4 years, and everyone is very, very excited to see what will happen.
Tell us a bit about your team and the kind of preparations you have been making for the Paralympic Games in Beijing this time.
Well, we have a relatively small team, but they're very, very accomplished. One of our athletes, Adam Hall, this will be his 5th Paralympic Games, extraordinary athlete. Another athlete, Corey Peters, this will be his 3rd Games. And then we have a youngster, which will be his 1st Games. And they're very, very excited. And the rest of the team and our support team, we're working away behind the scenes and making sure that everything we can do to make it as successful for the athletes as possible is being done, and trying to remove totally all the barriers so that everyone can focus on the roles that they know they need to do to be successful. So we're really excited and very busy, to be fair, going into these final preparations.
Yeah. Do you have any specific expectations or any goals you have set for the team? And you mentioned barriers. What kind of barriers are you talking about, for instance?
The barriers, I think the barriers go back a long way, in the fact that we normally, of course, would have come into Beijing and into China and been able to see and ski on the facilities, and of course in our current world situation that wasn't possible. So we've tried to be innovative and make sure that our athletes are prepared in different ways. By we're very lucky in New Zealand that we have extraordinary mountains that our athletes can train on. So but we won't consider that a barrier. We look to try and find the positives and work out how we can make the most of the situation that we're in. So we're very happy with the preparations that we have going at the moment.
You said the Beijing 2022 Winter Paralympics will be unlike any we've had before. Why is that? Have you been tailoring your preparation specifically for these events?
Specifically, I think we've focused a lot on our training environments being as similar as possible to what we expect when we come into the resort, into Yanqing. So we've worked a lot on a lot of different mountains in New Zealand, looking at different conditions and trying to mimic the slopes that we know the athletes will be skiing on, and the gradients, and are doing the same when the athletes are in competition in Europe. We have our simple focus, and our simple goal is to focus on getting the athletes to the start line and enjoying all that hard work that they've put in over the last 4 years, and in some of the athletes' cases, 20 years.
Sure. You mentioned some of the team members. I understand that one of them, Aaron Evan, actually suffered a fractured hip in Pyeongchang 2018. So during the final stages of the training, how is everything this time?
All our athletes are actually they're doing really well, and our sport is, you know, it's part of our sport that injuries do happen because it is a very fast sport, if you like. So accidents do happen, and people do acquire injuries, and we obviously work to mitigate that as best we possibly can, but we can't all the times. But at the moment, our athletes are in wonderful form, and are really much looking forward to it. And I think the biggest take from us with Aaron's injury was prior to going into Pyeongchang, was the fact that he still came back from that and worked incredibly hard, and now has the honor of representing his country at a games such as I know that China is going to put on. It will be a phenomenal first experience for him.
The Paralympic Games is always or are always a great source of inspiration, not just for sports fans, but also, you know, for ordinary people looking at people with disadvantages, trying their very best to excel, to get ahead, and to you know, realize their dreams. So share with us some of the examples or stories that with the New Zealand team, for instance, and how they can be inspiring to people here in China or around the world.
I think what we see with our athletes, once they're given an opportunity to, one, participate, and then two, to really follow their dreams and be the best that they can, is what everybody in the world strives to do. And I think what our athletes do is phenomenal, because they work twice as hard. They work they are phenomenal in what they do, and they overcome a huge amount of what people will perceive massive barriers, but they will work through that, and all they're trying to do is be the very best that they can be. And I think that's the most inspiring thing, is for me, watching an athlete's journey from beginner all the way through to an elite Paralympian. And watching the confidence and the absolute joy that they have from sport, and then they carry on into the skills that they learn from the commitment that they have to put into sport, takes them forward into life after sport, into fantastic jobs and inspiring roles beyond the sport as well. So the opportunities that are given to the athletes, it's phenomenal to see them succeed.
Do you think there is a understanding, let's say, or there's not enough attention to the Paralympic Games, to the Paralympians, and to the kind of struggle that they put on in order to achieve their dreams by the general public in general?
I think it goes hand in hand. I think what we're seeing now is a definite shift in that, and I think that's because of excellent broadcasting, excellent storytelling, excellent people advocating for equality across every form that we look at in the world. And I do think it's changed. I've been involved in this in the sporting industry for a long time with the Paralympics, and I have seen a definite change. And it is amazing to see. we would of course encourage everybody to watch these athletes for what they are, which is amazing athletes, first, amazing people. And I think the games and what comes out of people being able to watch and it being broadcasted so widely around the world now has made a huge difference. And people do now sit up and take notice. It's wonderful to see.
Some Chinese para-alpine skiers are also attracting global attention. So would you like to comment on some medal favorites according to your knowledge?
Well, I understand. I know who the Chinese athletes are that you're talking about, and you know, for us, it's incredibly exciting to see athletes that will hopefully, you know, perform in their home country. I mean, that would be a dream to have a Paralympics in your home country and to succeed and walk away as a medalist. And I've been very fortunate to, I have met some of these Chinese athletes down in New Zealand when we could all travel freely about 3 or 4 years ago on some races that we had down here. And I tell you, it's been amazing to watch the progression of those athletes and just see how well they've done in our sport in a relatively short time. And I honestly wish them all the success, and it's only great for the sport. It's great for the sport to see more people coming in and succeeding like this. They are true. It's a true honour to see them come through and do so well. It's very exciting.
Finally, China has really pulled out all the stops in promoting the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games, from designing state-of-the-art venues, composing theme songs, getting people on ice and snow as much as impossible. For instance, the goal of engaging 300 million people to enjoy winter sports. How do you look at such commitment?
It's phenomenal, really. And what's really exciting for me is the commitment to that sport development. That's been a particular highlight for me to see, and it's amazing to see the amount of resources and that has been put into the development of winter sports in China, and it's definitely to be commended. It's an incredible feat, because my expectations are that China will deliver a spectacular games. In fact, I was talking with my colleague who is in China now for the Olympic delegation, and he was singing the praises of what they are encountering as far as venues and accommodation and everything. So just fantastic. And in New Zealand, I think we've seen also a lot when travel was a little bit freer, of a lot more Chinese people coming here into New Zealand to ski. And also I know of people from New Zealand that have gone into China to work as well. So fantastic, absolutely fantastic, the promotion of winter sport, to be commended.
It's really important to have more people-to-people exchanges and promoting sports at the same time, isn't it? Many thanks to Ms. Jane Stevens, Chef de Mission of the New Zealand Paralympic Games delegation, and I wish you a wonderful stay and experience during the Paralympic Games here in Beijing.